So I'm sitting in class minding my good business and I get a call from my ex. What do you want? I only answered because he called me from an unknown number. Oh, context. At the time, he is a collegiate football player at a major university. He informs me that he is currently at the barbershop getting prepared for the NFL draft later that night. And again, what do you want? He embarks on a 2-minute obscenity-laced tirade in which he wants us all to know, kiss his and go to hell. Cause he playing the league now, baby. Okay. Did I mention how random this was? Because we were not together and had not spoken in months. So in the middle of the tirade, he says, my mom's a my grandmother's a I'm like, okay, I draw the line at grandmothers. He said, and you a too, and I hope you die tomorrow so I could piss on your grave, and hung up. Well, the draft came, and the draft went. He currently plays for, he doesn't, never got drafted.
So my last 911 job, this was in Oklahoma, and I don't know if you've heard of like the pizza order where like somebody who is in an unsafe situation calls 911 to order a pizza. Think of that, but only we talked about like a fake baby shower that we were going to, so let's get into it. I keep getting this 911 call from the same number, and it sounds like they're in a car, they're moving. I look on my map and I can see like the cell phone is calling from the interstate, I-35. And so finally I decide something's up, my spidey senses are tingling, let me call this person back. And so I called, and a woman answers, and she goes, hello, and I was like, hey, this is 911, we keep getting a hang up from this number, is everything okay? And she goes, hey girl, how you doing? And I'm like, it's on. Okay, hey girl, what's up? What you doing? And she was like, nothing much, we're just chilling, driving, taking a little trip, whatever. Are you going to so-and-so's baby shower this weekend? And I was like, okay, we're gonna talk in code. So then I was like, okay, I need to verify some things. I'm going to ask you some yes or no questions. You say yes, no, whatever. We'll keep it moving. So I was like, are you northbound on I-35? She goes, oh, no, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, so you're southbound, yes? And she goes, yeah, for sure. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to the baby shower this weekend. Are you bringing anybody with you? Bringing any friends? I was like, how many people are in the car with you? And she was like, oh, maybe about 3 or 4. And I was like, perfect. And then we start talking about like what color like gift are you gonna get for our fake friend's baby shower or whatever. And she was like green. So this was like the color of the car that they were in. And I was like, okay, what's like your price range? And I'm like, what's the mile marker you're at on I-35? And she was like, probably in like not more than like $60, I think. And I was like, okay, so you're passing the 60-mile marker on I-35. And she's like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, okay. And then so I get deputies like dispatched out to the interstate, some highway patrol, things like that, just whoever can get there first. They intercepted the car, and turns out that my caller was a sex worker with another sex worker in the back seat, and they were under the impression that they were going to just be paid for their time, have a good night, make some money, whatever. The men that paid them for their evening were actually going to another city in southern Oklahoma to murder people. Now, this story ends with all 4 people in the car getting arrested for weapons or warrants that they had in another city, so it's not that great of an ending, but at the end of the night, everybody was safe and nobody got hurt.
Now let me tell y'all about how I had to quit my job at Amazon yesterday, right? Okay, I just pulled in my garage. So listen, y'all, if you don't know me, now you know. Listen, I am from Mississippi. I moved to a different state unexpectedly, and it was so easy to get an Amazon job. I just took the So I started Amazon the middle of February. So it's been almost a little over a month. But mind you, when I left, I was already enrolled in school in Mississippi, and it's my last semester, so I didn't want to cancel my classes. So in my mind, I had to wait 30 days in order to switch to a Amazon Flex worker, which is a flexible worker, so that in case I do have to go to Mississippi to take my tests, my midterms, and my finals, I'll be able to do that without having set days, right? So after my 30 days, because I had been asking about Flex since day 1, but they told me I had to wait 30 days, right? So after my 30 days, the 30th day, I was able to apply for Flex. Mind you, It's been almost a month now because it's finna be April. So I've been asking HR, like, because I didn't know it was gonna take this long for them to approve it. So I've been asking them and asking them. They was like, okay, so the application for the flex will close on the 25th, which is today. So you should have an answer as to if you'll be able to go to flex or not on the 25th. Okay, cool. So I go to work yesterday and I go straight to HR. I was like, listen, today the 24th. So are y'all for sure that I should get an answer sometime soon, by tomorrow or Monday, if I'll be able to go to flex, because it's almost time for me to take my test, right? He was like, oh yeah, you should be able to do that, blah 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 blah, whatever. About 2 hours later, I was at work. My supervisor come get me and tell me HR need to talk to me, right? So I'm like, okay. I'm thinking that, hell, okay. I'm happy, like, okay, they finna tell me that I can go to flex, like, cool. So I go to the HR department and this man gonna have the nerve to tell me that I have a final write-up. So I'm like, okay, a final write-up. So what happened to write-up 1 and 2? Because I wasn't informed that I was written up. He was like, well, back in a whole month ago, when I first started, I came in without swiping my badge, but I went straight to HR to let them know, a different lady, and that's how he found out. So he been going through all my so I was like, okay, cool. I didn't mind the write-up because, listen, I'm finna be flex, so I'm getting what I want. So, okay, the write-up, cool. Then he gonna tell me, unfortunately, you won't be able to switch to flex until after 90 days. I looked at his, I said, sir, I can't do that. I just cannot do it. Because for one, I don't understand, if that was such a big issue, why didn't the human resource lady tell me that a month ago?
Okay, this is going to sound really weird, but I stayed in a hotel last night, and this morning I couldn't find my AirPods, and I needed them because I had an appointment, it was virtual, whatever. So I looked all over for them, I couldn't find them. I searched through my car, I searched through all my bags, I could not find my AirPods anywhere. So finally, I went onto my phone, I used the Find My feature, I locked my AirPods, and I looked up where they were. And it took me to a place out in the middle of nowhere. So I drove out here. I've never been here before. And I went up, there's nobody home. I knocked on the door, nobody answered. So then I Googled the address and I got a name of the owner. So then I Googled that person's name, and it turns out that it's the general manager of the hotel that I stayed at last night. So why does the general manager of the hotel where I stayed have my AirPods in his house right now? So I called the hotel, and apparently the general manager was busy. So I left a message, and I basically explained to the receptionist that my AirPods were at the general manager's house. So she took my number. She said he would give me a call back. Well, then she called me back instead, like 10 minutes later, and was like, oh, yeah, he said that he found them in the parking lot and he can bring them back when he comes back to work tomorrow. So you can come pick them up anytime after 12 tomorrow. No apology, no explanation for why he didn't take them back into the hotel and like put them in lost and found. He didn't even call. Yeah.